behavior is the way an individual makes decisions about spending their limited income to meet their daily needs. And meanwhile, economic distribution is the way income and resources in a country divide among individuals, group, or sector in society. Both are important because for consumer behavior, it's because business can predict product demand and adjust the production according to demand. For economic distribution is to distribute income fairly to all parties. The objective is we can study basic principles of consumer behavior, examine how economic distributions influence consumption patterns, and analyze its impact on market dynamics and daily economic distribution.
Utility analysis is the method that used in economic and decision analysis to evaluate the preference, satisfaction, or value that individuals derive from different options or outcomes. Utility analysis have three components, which is total utility and marginal utility, and law of diminishing of marginal utility. Total utility is TUX equals to U1 plus U2 plus U3, and marginal utility for the formula is MUX equals to TUS over QX. And to calculate the total for total utility is TUN equals to UX plus UY plus UZ. And for sum up total marginal utility is MUN equals to TUN minus TUN minus 1. Law of diminishing of marginal utility is mean the utility came from consumer from successive unit of a particular product diminish as a total consumption. Means of the product increase while the consumption of other product remain constant. As more units are consumed, the MU of each additional tends to decrease. Here is the graph that shows the total utility and marginal utility of law of diminishing.
For cardinal approach, the definition is we assume that the utility, the satisfaction obtained from consuming a good or service that can be measured numerically. Cardinal approach have many assumptions. For example, rationally. Next is limited resources money. Other than that, maximum satisfaction. Next, utility is cardinally measurable. Moreover, diminishing marginal utility. Furthermore, marginal utility of money constant. Last but not least, utility is additive.
If the price and the quantity is false, and the equilibrium is restored when MU is equal to P.
Okay, now we move to ordinal approach. Ordinal approach, the definition is ordinal approach refers to the method of analyzing consumer behavior based on the ranking of preference rather than measuring utility in specific unit. Cardinal approach also have many assumptions. For example, the first one is ability to rank preference. Next is taste of consumer, which are transitive. Moreover, non-satiation. And last but not least is diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Cardinal approach have characteristic of indifference curve. Number one is indifference curve do not intersect. The second one is higher indifference curve are preferred to lower indifference curve. Next, indifferent curve are negatively sloped. Moreover, indifferent curve are convex to the origin. Lastly, indifference curve do not touch the y-axis and the x-axis.
consumer equilibrium attained when a consumer chooses a combination of goods that maximize his utility at given level of income. In the graph, the consumer wants the most satisfaction while staying within their budget, shown by line PQ, curve I1, I2 and I3. Point C gives the most satisfaction but is too expensive, while points A and B are affordable but give less satisfaction. Point E is on the higher curve and still on the budget line, making the best choice for consumer. So point E is the equilibrium point where the consumer gets the most satisfaction with their full budget. The theory of economic distribution explains how rewards are given to factors of production like wages and rent. Wages are payment to workers based on their skills and effort. Usually they paid hourly, daily, weekly or monthly. So there are two types of wages. First, nominal wages. Nominal wages is the total money received without considering inflation. Second is real wage. Real wage is the money received after adjusting for inflation, showing actual purchasing power.
So, for the first graph is firm's demand. This graph shows the demand for a labor from a single firm, while for graph 2 is industry demand curve. This graph shows the demand for a labor from an entire industry.
So, next is supply of labor. Supply of labor refers to the total number of hours that workers are willing and able to offer their services at a various wage rate within a given period. So, we look forward to this graph, which is supply of labor in the perfect market. It is likely represented by a perfectly elastic, okay, which is they can hire as much labor as they want. Also, hiring decisions are too small to influence the overall market rate. The second one is supply of labor to an industry. This graph showing an upward sloping supply curve. So, as the wage rate increases from W2 to W4 to W1, more individuals are willing to supply their labor to that particular industry, from L2 to L4 to L2. Okay? It is attract more workers from other industries. It generally needs to offer the higher wages. In some cases, the supply curve may bend backward like this graph, which means supply of labor for the entire economy are extremely high wage, where people prefer leisure over additional work hours.
Okay. Here is the graph for the wage equilibrium, and here is the equilibrium. And if the demand is too high, it could be the labor surplus, and if the demand too low, it could be the labor shortage. Okay. For the x-axis, it shows the length, and y-axis it shows the rate. And if the equilibrium above R means that it's for supply, and if it's below R, it shows for the demand. Thank you.
For definition profit, financial gain that result when a business total revenue exceed its total cost, serving as a reward for entrepreneurship in taking risk of engaging activity like innovation, production and investment. For normal profit, we refer to the minimum level of profit required to keep an entrepreneur firm operating in the long run. Economic profit, difference between total revenue from selling output and total opportunity cost of the input used in production.
Interest is a fee charged on borrowing money. In economics, interest is a reward for capital, that is, the return received by borrower for allowing others to use their money for a certain period. There are three types of interest rate. First, nominal interest rate is the interest rate that officially state without taking inflation into account. Second, real interest rate is the real interest rate after deducting the inflation rate. Lastly, effective interest rate is the actual interest rate paid or received after taking into account the frequency of interest payments. Equilibrium interest rate is the interest rate at which the amount of money supply equals the amount demand in the financial market. There have two interest rate theory. First is neoclassical loanable funds. There have demand for loanable funds, which is come from borrowers, and the supply of loanable funds, which is coming from the savers. Second theory is Keynes liquidity preference theory of interest. They have demand for money, and in demand for money there are three motives people save cash. First is transaction motive, second precautionary motive, third speculation motive. Second, they have supply of money. The supply of money is controlled by government and central bank.
Government policies. Government policies are plans or action made to solve problems and improve the economy. This includes decisions, programs, and laws to achieve goals like reducing poverty, controlling inflation, and protecting the environment. For example, the government may give subsidies to poor families or enforce laws to reduce pollution. First, enhancing wage fairness. Wage fairness can be improved by introducing a living wage, which covers basic needs like food and housing. Since living costs vary by locations, wages should be adjusted accordingly. The government can also provide free or low-cost job training to help workers gain skills and get better paying jobs. Second is regulating rent. To make housing more affordable, the government can limit rent prices and build low-cost housing. This helps low-income families find safe and affordable homes, especially the family who live in expensive cities. Lastly, optimize profit distribution. Profit distribution is how a company shares its earnings with the workers who help it succeed. Sometimes, companies make high profit, but employees don't get any extra rewards, which can seem unfair. To solve this, the government can introduce policies that require companies to give bonus or extra payments when the business is good. This ensures workers feel appreciated and motivated, leading to a better work environment. In the long run, both employees and companies can share their benefits. The Malaysian government has introduced several policies to improve people's lives, especially for low and middle income groups. One major policy is the minimum wage policy, launched in 2013, which ensures workers receive a basic salary to cover their daily needs. This has helped many low-paid workers earn more and stay above the poverty line. Another important initiative is the Prima Housing Project, aimed at helping middle-income families afford homes. With rising property prices, Prima offers houses at lower prices, giving more people the chance to own a home and enjoy better living conditions. In 2024, the government introduced the Rahmah Cash Contribution (STR), which provides financial aid to poor families. This cash helps them buy essential items like food, clothes, and school supplies. It also eases the pressure on parents with low income and support their children's well-being.
For conclusion, this assignment discusses how consumer behavior impact economic decision. It explores concepts like utility and marginal utility. It explaining how consumers make choices to maximize satisfaction. This assignment also differentiates between nominal wage and real wage, and their influence on economic factors. Furthermore, it highlights the importance of consumer behavior in economic stability, emphasizing its role in predicting economic cycles and fostering economic growth through various means like human capital development, innovation, and entrepreneurship.